So you've come here for the truth. Well, we've got the truth and nothing but the truth. Here are your hosts, Robert A. Bianchi and David J. Bruno.
Welcome to WMTR Radio's Nothing But the Truth with your hosts, Bob Bianchi and Dave Bruno, a show about mindset by two lawyers, and we are now doing another episode with another great guest.
Yeah, rolling into episode 2 with Sean Schofield, the PhD, was spitting value and fire in episode 1. And thank you, Sean, for staying on.
Yeah. Dave, we need a bell. Bing, ding, 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 ding.
Got it.
That's our bonus round. We got a bonus round coming up. I know you want to do a bonus round.
Nothing but the truth. Bonus.
Ding, ding, ding,
we
ding.
got to come in here because we have such an exceptional guest.
Yep.
Sean Schofield, PhD. He's a PhD with higher education policy, planning, and leadership. He's in a new position, vice president of a college. And in the show, he touched upon the 8 dimensions of wellness. And we are talking about attorney wellness throughout the legal communities, not only in New Jersey, but nationally. I am on Attorney Wellness Committee of the State Bar Association. The judiciary has their own initiatives for attorney wellness. And when I heard you touch upon just a couple of the 8 dimensions of wellness, I thought that this could be an excellent bonus topic in conversation to hit these dimensions and help our legal community out there with attorney wellness. Sean, can you help us? We have problems. Our clients have problems.
We need wellness. We need wellness.
But understand that the dimensions will be helpful to us all. So please, can you tell us what those dimensions are and how they could be applied to our legal community?
Absolutely. So I think, in learning what your needs are, a lot of times we stop and we sometimes feel like a pain. We call it dissonance, right? If we know something's not where it's supposed to be. The problem with that is that it's not actionable. Just feeling pain, it's not actionable. But if you can kind of work to identify the source of that pain, it can be really helpful because once, if you have pain, you start to think, man, I wish I didn't have pain, but a wish is completely unhelpful. But if you could say, I have pain and the source of it is here, I can take these actions, make these goals, and I can feel some relief of this pain, then you have a plan. And that is actionable and that is helpful. So through positive psychology, this concept of the 8 dimensions of wellness and flourishing really comes from this thought that in order to have a productive, satisfying life, you have to be able to focus on different components of that life that are all really important, and they all work to support one another and can take away from one another. And the 8 dimensions of wellness are emotional wellness, and this is exactly how it feels. Like, how am I feeling? Am I pouring back into my cup? Am I getting rejuvenation that I need? Physical wellness. That's one of those things where, we are all temporarily abled in the grand scheme of things, where anything can happen at any time. But being able to also focus on our health and our well-being, our physical health, it's important. I know for me personally, if I'm feeling jumbled, I go out and I take a walk. And that's important because it helps me clarify, it helps me feel better, give me some energy. Occupational wellness, so your career. How satisfied are you in your career? That can come in a lot of different ways, but it's important to think through. Social wellness. How am I with my peer group, my friends, my family, the people that mean something to me? How are those relationships on this wheel? And are they low? Is it a 1 out of 10 or am I at a 10 out of 10? Spiritual, and this doesn't just mean religious. This means connection to the world and something greater around you. People can be spiritual when they feel like they're standing beside the ocean and understand this is bigger than me. But having that kind of concept. Intellectual, how are you feeling intellectually stimulated and challenged? It is so important because growth is something everybody craves, whether they know it or not. And the more growth and intellectual growth that you have, the more you recognize, I need more, I need more. Environmental, what's your home life like? Do you feel like you're in a safe environment? We look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and we think, gosh, if I'm not feeling safe, I can't get to higher order thinking. Because immediately I'm always thinking about I'm hungry or I'm in a potentially dangerous situation. And then an important concept that a lot of times we don't talk enough about is financial wellness and health, and understanding that there is a value to my time. Am I getting compensated for that effectively? And feeling like, am I, financial health, you could be making a ton of money, but if you're spending a ton more, you're still going to be financially unhealthy. You're still going to have that sensation of, my goodness, I'm not filled in that department. So those are kind of the 8 dimensions, but you could probably see how, if you are not financially comfortable, if you're feeling like that's causing an immense amount of stress, there's no way you're going to be comfortable in all of the other areas too. It's going to have an effect on family. It's going to have an effect on your ability to stay. I need to learn. I need to be intellectual right now. So that's kind of like the brief overview of those. And I think it's really applicable, because if you start to work with someone, especially someone you're mentoring, if you have them fill out this wellness wheel, you can start to see areas that you might want to target. And that way you can be really effective in saying, okay, you're feeling great in the career, but you're really low on social. Like, maybe the career's taking all your time. I don't really feel like I have any friends. When I go home, I go to an empty apartment. I feel like I'm not myself. And that's where you can start to introduce new ideas to your mentees or to people that you're working with or counseling, or even yourself, in order to help support that holistic wellness.
Wow. One of the things that Bob and I both do, we journal. We journal regularly, daily journaling in the morning to set priorities and purpose and intention. And I'd imagine that this is probably a very good thing to do in the mornings, if you have similar practices, Sean.
Yes. Absolutely right. And journaling, what you're doing is you're participating in intentional reflection. And intentional reflection is where you're going to highlight the source of some of the pains or challenges or excitement, because you want to pour into stuff too. And journaling can help you identify, wow, I'm really excited about this that's taking place. And pouring more energy into that is actually rejuvenating to me. It could be tiring and rejuvenating at the same time. But learning about yourself through that practice of journaling, people do it in photo journaling, people do it in all different types of ways, to just capture what life is like going on around them. And it gives some clarity, I think, once you start putting these practices into place.
Oh, you're a natural. I mean, one of the things that, like, I think with our intentionality is that it's very important that, like in any profession, but lawyers in particular can sometimes be a little antiseptic and not recognize that every day they've been given a gift to make the life of another person better. Now that can be, I mean that in more than just the legal sense, in the manner in which we speak to somebody. For example, Dave and myself, oddly, I guess, got trained by Dr. Brene Brown in San Antonio. We went to a program for a week called the Daring Way program. We were the only 2 lawyers from New Jersey. They looked at us like we were insane. They were all like mental health providers. But when they realized that, we said to them, what we want to do is be able to have a better skill set in helping our clients go not just through a legal problem, but to assist them as human beings. And we give them the book, the Daring Way book, and whatever. And so that's very much gives you an idea of the compass of how we are, that every day we get to make somebody breathe a little bit easier. And it's sad to me that even when I was the prosecutor, that you did a lot of great work there too. You're helping victims, and that people didn't see their job as being more than just nuts and bolts, that there's something much bigger going on.
It's such a transformative. I mean, when you think about it, you are seeing people on some of the worst moments of their entire life. And you're working hard to not have them internalize that as this is who I am, right? Because sometimes it was a poor choice. Sometimes it was a result of something that was, out of their control. Sometimes it's, not fair. Like, there's a lot of things, but no matter what, you've seen people at rock bottom. And I mean, part of that is just being a great human being in order to say, like, hey, I'm here to support you. And I'm here to work with you and help you feel seen and heard and represented. So, I mean, it is an immensely powerful and important profession, but it has such a large and permanent impact on people that you have to think that way, or else you could be dangerous, right? Like, an attorney could be very dangerous if they're catching these people in their weakest state. I mean,
yeah. Dave always says this, and not that Dave doesn't say lots of things that impress me, because he does, but this one in particular, that these people, when they come to us as defense attorneys, give up something that is a profound power. They abdicate their right to speak for themselves and turn it over to us to speak for them. And even, as a prosecutor, people say, how could you do both? I mean, you're also doing powerful things there, but to the point that, like, when I was prosecutor, and Dave, I think feels the same way, I looked at it as an opportunity that 90% of the people that are coming before us are mentally ill and or addicted. And if we can use the criminal justice system to put them on the right path, 90%. Now, you may have 10% of the people, and it's probably even less than that you need to put away for as long as is humanly possible because they represent a continuing danger to people or whatever. But most of the people that we see, and certainly the people that we represent, they're really broken. And it's really, really, if I were to say what's the qualitative difference between the two, prosecutor versus defense, we work on the same cases. We go to the same courtroom. We have the same clients, right? But when you're doing defense work, it's painful to watch a person's life completely deconstructing. More than just their legal, their jobs, their marriages, it's their reputations. It's hard.
Yeah, also, too, God, we could probably do a second episode with all this. But, Sean, it's also the opportunity for transformation at the bottom. At the bottom. It's almost forced transformation.
Yeah.
To be able to realign the values, talk about the space in between the stimulus and the response, and the power you have to make decisions. Because obviously, the decisions that they made up to that point weren't all aligned with what we look at as good values.
Right. Just imagine the opportunity for, like you said, transformation. And sometimes all it takes is one caring person. Some people that you might be engaging with, they've had a complete absence of that in their life, or at least for the memorable time that they've had recently. And you being that caring person, someone that gives them worth, and lets them feel value in themselves, that can be enough sometimes to pivot and transition and say, wow, like this person believes in me. Maybe I need to believe in myself a little bit. It's powerful. And even what you said, the system can help. And I'm a trained counselor, right? So like one of the things that you think of, if someone is a danger to themselves or others, they might not have the wherewithal to stop them from performing bad action, but the system will. And that's why people can be put on holds or it's not that we're trying to be punitive or lock them up. It's that the system needs to step in and provide support because right now they're not able to support themselves. And that can come from, their socialization, which probably you've dealt with a lot, but like you said, mental illness. People are not in control and that's so dangerous for them.
All right, awesome. Time to take a break here at WMTR Radio's All About Truth. The host, Bob Bianchi, Dave Bruno, will be right back.
At the Bianchi Law Group, our team of former prosecutors and certified criminal trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and domestic violence cases. When you need a law firm with courage, compassion, and the commitment to fight for you, call the Bianchi Law Group today. Welcome
back to WMTR Radio's All About the Truth. Bob Bianchi, Dave Bruno. We're with Sean Schofield, PhD, and we're going to continue with this great interview.
Awesome. If you don't mind, I have another question. And Bob and I, in May, we're actually speaking. We have a workshop for addiction specialists and counselors because we're educating them on the criminal justice system and how we could work better with them to help our clients going through this, Any pointers for really what we should be guiding them and talking to them about that would be helpful to their community?
Yeah, I think when you're training as a counselor, you tend to lose sight of the systems that are also available because you pour a lot of your energy and your effort into sitting across from someone and having that therapeutic interpersonal relationship. But the systems also can provide alleviation for your client in a way that's more powerful. And if you all represent part of that system, so every person has their own kind of job. And I think that people they sometimes get, I did, right, when I was working in this space, I would get over involved with thinking that all the work is done here in this interpersonal relationship. We're talking, I'm listening, I'm empathizing, and that's where the good work is done. But in reality, the good work is done when that is something that's taking place, but at the same time, they're getting some other systemic kind of support. Maybe they're getting some family support or some support from other caring adults. All of those things working together is really where we see transformative change. And you both play a big part in that. And it's work that you've also trained really hard for. And I don't think that people really necessarily understand the training that you all go through. And the type of work that you do, because I think certain things are romanticized on TV, or people get a lot of what they think about the law from shows or from what they experience, good or for bad.
You know what I found? Yeah, when we got out from being prosecutors, it's funny because the addiction and mental health providers were a natural go-to for business relationships. We worked. As the head prosecutor, started the first mental health court, and we were on the cutting edge of that kind of stuff. What I found with the especially the addiction professionals was kind of the point you just raised. The 8 parts of the wheel. I'm sorry, what do we call it? Dimensions.
Yeah, of wellness.
Well, there's a whole bunch of other systems that are at play in a person's life that are beyond just counseling. And the criminal justice system is a big one. It's a big stressor, and it can have a massive effect on a person and their well-being in so many different regards. And there were some providers who got that and wanted to set their client up in as best a space as possible in all the areas of what they needed. But I'd say a great majority of them didn't see it as part of their quote unquote job and just left them listless, if you will, in the criminal justice system. And we were really surprised at that, right? Because we're always trying to make sure. I can't count how many times I say to somebody, do you need to go to a mental health provider or to an addiction person for your legal case? As your lawyer, I have to be honest with you. The answer is no, you don't. Do I think it's going to be the best thing that happened in your life for you to turn around in 5 years from now and to be able to say that experience, painful as it was, is the thing that changed my life because it brought me to health, it brought me to a provider, I think that you should really consider it. And with the power of the relationship you have and your, because they look up to you or what have you, they've hired you, 99% of the people will do what you ask them to do. So we're always big on, making sure they get to the right services, but we haven't seen the reverse, right? That's kind of what you're getting to.
Yeah. What's amazing too is our experience as prosecutors. We realized that providing that information from the defendant, the services, the therapy, the rehabilitation, it really humanizes the defendants in the prosecutor's mind.
Yeah.
Because prosecutors are making decisions. What an appropriate plea agreement is right based on the police report, all the things in the prosecutor's file, which doesn't include who the defendants are. So
it's like a poll.
Really is.
It's like a snapshot in time of something that a person who's otherwise probably led a very good and law-abiding life, who's a very decent human being. It's a snapshot of a moment in time that this person was at their worst.
Yeah.
So, and none of us, no personal life wants to be measured by a cross-section of time, right? That is completely unfair. I can think of all the times I've been at my worst and I've done wrong. And that's not how I want to be measured, right? That's and sadly, that's how these people feel. But that's where having an advocate, having someone like you both that can say, I'm not going to see you like that. Like, yeah, this is one element. And just like the wellness wheel, right? Like, these are all one element of a larger picture, and the larger picture is what we're trying to support or rescue or whatever it is. That's the person that has the value.
Yeah, I think it helps foster intentionality, and but also avoids, if anybody hasn't seen it, you should see the full video that Sean had done with us in the podcast, because it also avoids that reactivity as well. It helps focus your energy. So, wow, those are awesome tips. We really appreciate it, Sean.
Yeah, no, appreciate the bonus time.
Bonus.
And if you haven't seen, like Bob said, if you haven't seen the full video with Sean. That's available on nothingbutthetruthpodcast.com, in YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well. Sean, it's been a pleasure. You delivered the value like I knew you would. Thank you for coming on.
Sean.
Nothing
Thank you both. I really appreciate your time and what you do. This is a great show. I've been watching back reruns and stuff. Oh my God, great show, good content. Thank you.
Don't ask it a lot, but Sean, I'd love to see you come back sometime if you had the time, because I think what you have to offer is amazing, and I appreciate it.
I would love to come back anytime. This has been a real treat.
Thank you so much.
All
Take
right.
care.
We're the Bianchi Law Group, a team of former prosecutors and certified criminal trial attorneys.
But here's the thing. He put himself in a box when he said...
Relied on by CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Law and Crime, and news leaders across the country for our criminal defense
In a
expertise.
search warrant, you have to have probable cause that a crime's been committed and there's evidence in a particular place.
When you need a law firm with courage, compassion, and the commitment to fight for you, call the Bianchi Law Group today.